During the last board meeting, Mr. Prasanna gifted me a copy of his book, Innovate Locally to Win Globally. I have gone through this book and found it to be very impressive and inspiring life story. The book narrates how through sheer hard work, courage, and innovative approach, a technology-intensive industry was established by a young team against all odds. Although the book focuses on medtech industry, it has valuable leadership lessons for other walks of life. I thought it would be apt to distribute copies of the book to the board members and my colleagues, and also having this formal program. So over to you, sir.
Mr. Podar, Mr. Kantak, Mrs. Rita Menon, colleagues on the board, leadership team and friends. Thank you, Mr. Kantak, for inviting me to the Author Speak program and saying those kind words about my evolution. In the next 30 to 35, 40 minutes, I basically cover leadership practices that foster innovation. I thought that the focus of my talk today must be something applicable in another industry, which is fertilizer industry, and so I have focused on this. So first, how it all started. I think one of the most important responsibility or task of a leader is to set aspirational goals. If an organization does not have aspirational goals, then it basically benchmarks itself against the industry average or the industry best and tries to move forward. Whereas aspirational goals is something which makes the organization think out of the box. So when the joint venture was established for medical business between GE and Wipro in 1989, 3 candidates were interviewed for the MD CEO job by a panel of 3 leaders. GE Medical Systems CEO John Tranney, who had built a $4 billion business, Asia CEO of GEMS, and Azim Premji of Wipro. And this interview was held in Chicago. So after telling me that I got the job, John Tranney told me that he would love to see GE achieve market leadership. That is, GE's market share should become number 1 or number 2 in 5 years from the current position of number 6. In very simple words, he articulated without any charts, any numbers, or any when to start, when to end, or whatever it is. But basically, he said, I want you to build this business to number 1 or number 2 within 5 years. I was floating in the cloud and he called me back when I was leaving the room, and he added that he would be elated if I can do it profitably. That is a stretch goal. So it is, it's in more detail, I cover it in the book. And so similar examples you see of leaders setting such aspirational goals. And another example I cite is that of J.R.D. Tata. As his plane was delayed after Tata Steel board meeting, Rusi Modi, MD of Tata Steel, took him to Tata Sports Club. And the leadership team there shared their successes, recent successes. Tata complimented and shared his aspiration that can you put a Tata employee on the Mount Everest? This is the, he said, this is my aspiration, that a Tata employee should climb the Mount Everest. So, you know, the leadership team of the club, which has to do this, asked for 7 years. Give us 7 years and we'll put it. So he said, already I am in my late 70s. I have so much of runway, I think. You please do it in 3 years. He said. And then they left the room, to catch the flight to the airport. But then he came back from the door and told Kennedy, who was the chief of Tata Sports Club at that time, that I will be delighted if you can put a Tata woman employee on the Everest. So that was the stretch goal. He gave it to them and went. And this is when people with whom you respect so much, who love them for what they have done to the country, to their business and whatnot, you get invigorated to not say no and to do your best to get there. And within 3 years, let me tell you, Bachindra Pal was put on the Everest. And after that, Tata Sports Club put 14 people, out of them 9 were women. So this is another example of the leadership team aspiring big. And Tata Sports Club, which is basically, deep into Mohan Bagan and West and the Bengal Club, East Bengal Club and the like. Now they had to think totally differently if they had to put a woman on the Mount Everest. So the question comes back to leadership team, that how do you achieve aspirational goals? Always people say that the big leaders have a big aspiration, but the job of achieving it is in our hands. What do we do? So I think the situation, for example, the responsibility to achieve the leadership for the medical business was with me and my team. And the situation was that the Siemens and Philips and Toshiba were strongly entrenched in the marketplace, and scanners were sold more on specifications. And value addition by the companies was in terms of saving tax for the customer. Clever ways in which you can do things whereby you can save tax, but these would deteriorate to custom duty being avoided by under invoicing and over invoice to pay money overseas in people's accounts. And these are absolute no for GE or Wipro, that these cannot be done because these are non-compliant. These are not only non-compliant, these are not legal, and these are not the way to run business. And so this was the situation. And the third thing is that the market was not big. Patient capacity to pay for sophisticated scans was limited. And it was primarily in the metro cities where people had the money to take an MR scan or CT scan. I'm now talking of 1989-90. And so when the challenge was not only achieve market leadership, do it in 5 years, do it profitably, and also the understated value was that do it ethically. So the challenges were many, and so all of us do market segmentation. So we did market segmentation on the basis of ethics. Have you heard of this? A company doing market segmentation on the basis of ethics, because we knew that it will be, basically we came up with 3 segments. Competition is entrenched and the process of buying is opaque. Second segment is where the process of buying is transparent. And third is first time buyers. So obviously we avoided the first category where the process is opaque and the competition is entrenched, and we focused on transparent customers. We could win some well-known hospitals, but these were not taken up by competition because there were big technical challenges in putting up the MR in those locations. We had a VP service from called Sahu, and he was courageous leader. He always had a can-do, will-do attitude. and he could transmit that to his team. And he was a strong motivator of his team to find solutions. For example, in Bombay Hospital, which is a Birla institution, the MR room was given, which was surrounded by other electronic equipment. And on top of the room was the parking lot where the cars were parked. You know, MR has got a powerful magnet. It will magnetize everything. So in that situation, they wanted to buy and place an MR there. And our team there has obviously, Sahu found a supplier in Los Angeles called Concept Technologies to do site shielding from special material and see that the magnet did not interfere with the operation of either other equipment or the parking lot. So this was a big challenge won over. Similarly, you know, we won the order in Sri Chitra Tirunal Trivandrum, which was where a jumbo jet would bring the MR from US, and the nearest airport which it could land was Chennai, and Madras to Trivandrum was 800 kilometers of poor quality roads, and this highly sensitive equipment has to navigate on these roads, and MR has a super cooled magnet where the helium is filled and helium boils off if it's exposed to high temperature. And taking this MR, cool MR, from the airport 800 kilometers away was something which other companies did not want to take the chance and take the risk. But our team, you know, looked for how to make it happen. They found out that ISRO was renting a 32-wheel trailer. It was called the Russian air. It had some air cushion and 36 wheels trailer. And on that, they were using, the ISRO was using it to transport the rockets from Trivandrum to Sriharikota. And that was rented. MR had to be kept cool, so they had to fill helium. Civil Aviation Ministry permission was taken to fill helium with minus 278 degrees on the tarmac. When it was unloaded and taken, it can go only in the night, 100 kilometers a day, it will take 8 days. And it was commissioned without any problem. So things like this. Another problem was there where Nimans, you have heard of, which is in Bangalore. They had a CT supplied by a French company, which was later acquired by GE. And the French company's head scanner had stopped working, and because of which even a couple of patients died. And it's all over newspapers that their scanner is not working. And the GE was given as the reason unable to maintain this. So when we escalated to our CEO in Asia at Tokyo, he came down to Bangalore. He met the customer, and Nimans was going for a replacement of that CT with another $1 million CT. But that whole process would take 8 to 9 months, tender, this, that, everything. So he told them that till you get your $1 million CT and commission it, I'm going to give you a free replacement CT, which you can use it. And when you commission it, we'll take it back. Now, the technology, the capability of the service team to install in the toughest conditions, the attitude of the company to work for the customer when he's in trouble, took away any doubt any customer had that GE is here to in India to work with the customers and to support them, and then they can be trusted, and now they are a competent team to overcome technical challenges. So these are just 3 examples I'm giving, but the team broke new ground over and over again. Team responded creatively and courageously, making a difference to lives. GE's credibility to support high technology was established in customers' mind. And the image this team got was that nothing is impossible for GE. So when you ask customers, customers would tell our competitors, look here, you guys come and do a normal job, but nothing is impossible for GE. They will do the impossible. And so now, when customers start thinking like this, the organization also has to respond like that. So of course, by winning a few transparent sites, we could not establish market leadership. We had to win large number of orders ethically, and we turned our energies to first-time buyers, because these first-time buyers were not, I would say, were not accustomed to the practices followed by entrenched competition of under-invoicing, over-invoicing, and all those expectations were not there with them. But these Tier 2, Tier 3 cities had their own challenges. Patient affordability for scan was low. And, so we had some solution in made in India Japanese scanners at lower cost. Hospitals, clinics could not afford to rent or buy another large space for the scanner. We had to fit innovatively in the existing space itself. Doctors, techs had to learn how to get accurate diagnosis, and we had to train. Banks are unwilling to finance without big security or personal guarantee. We had to create new financing models for NBFCs to finance on scanner viability and not security-based financing. Scanners had to work 18 to 20 hours a day to repay the loan versus 8 to 10 scans a day normally. And we had to provide this reliability and throughput and service. Each hurdle was removed, and we were pioneers and innovative problem solvers at every step. These clinics and hospitals were heavily dependent on our team for their success. So we could set our rules of ethical transactions with them, and they accepted that. And we also started a practice of collecting 10 to 15% customer advance, which was not there in the industry before. And so these two things, we set the rules of the game. So we created a market and took dominant share of Tier 2, Tier 3 cities, and we grew our business 100% every year. Our growth rate was CAGR of 100%. Making in India was a big differentiator. Affordable diagnosis was innovated at every step. One example I will illustrate is that location for factory had to be chosen. For attracting talent, the best place to locate the factory, best places were either Pune or Bangalore for for electronic manufacture. Premji was keen that you go to Aurangabad or Mehboob Nagar. These were phase 4 zones where you would get good tax breaks and incentives. So he said that is the way to reduce the cost and go there. But GE was telling that no, you stay in port cities because your number one priority is getting spare parts to the customer. And so you should be close to bringing those parts and giving it to the customer, and that will help. So as a leadership team, we were neither in the port nor in Aurangabad or somewhere. We wanted to be in Bangalore or Pune. So we negotiated with the Chief Minister of Karnataka. And when I went to him and asked for Zone 4 benefits in Bangalore, he laughed and told that I don't think you will get that. But I don't want to lose GE. I want GE in Karnataka. So you go to my industry secretary and brainstorm with him. Chief Minister was Moily, and the secretary was Mr. Prabhakar, industry secretary. So I went and had a discussion with the industry secretary that what can we do? So he told that if your sector is declared as a sunrise sector, And if you're a pioneering company entering the sunrise sector with a significant investment, then we can extend some benefits to you. But we were a pioneering company. There was no other medical electronic company in Karnataka, but our sector was not declared a sunrise sector. So I went back to Chief Minister and told that you have to get it passed in assembly, that medical electronics is a sunrise sector, and we will definitely invest, we can give commitment. And that's how, we got zone 3 benefits, not zone 4, but zone 3 benefits in the city of Bangalore to establish a company. Again, innovation. When you are pushed to the wall and when you have to accomplish certain things to make competitive equipment, you come with out of the box ideas. And this was one more example of how this team got in the city of Bangalore itself incentives for phase 3 zone. The full story of this is there in the book. You can read that. Now, another thing I want to talk to you is that we were growing, as I told you, 100% CAGR. We were profitable in year 1, we were profitable in year 2, but we saw that we are not going to be profitable in year 3. But we saw this in year 2 itself because we were putting a lot of money in manufacturing, technology transfer, service infrastructure, whatnot. So all sorts of calculations were done by people like Muralidhar and others to see how can we be profitable. But basically, the CFO declared that in the existing business, you will not be profitable even if you stand on your head in the year 3. So we had to think again, okay, what do we do now? Our aspirational goal is achieve leadership profitably. Even if you achieve leadership, but if you are not profitably, there will be disappointment. So then we thought that, okay, the national competitiveness of the country is in software. And GE also has committed to import $30 million of software. So why not use this opportunity and request GE Medical Systems to develop a service system package for Asia by us. And at that time, we had no software team and no capability or competence. But it was sheer, I would almost say, audacity to go and ask for this. That instead of buying software package in Singapore, why don't you develop it in our company? So when the CEO asked, what do you know anything about this? So I had to come up at the last minute to tell him that we know the business. We know the medical business, we know the service business. We may not know computers, we may not know software, but using that domain knowledge is one help we can do. So, he gave the order to us, $1 million. And $1 million definitely will turn the profitability to positive. But then the model on which software export was developed in those days was that mostly the software would run on mainframes or high-end mini computers like DEC and Data General and other platforms. So the software companies would import that machine, develop the package, take the package to that country, and then deploy it on customer's computer. Now, the lead time to get an import license and import the computer was 9 to 12 months. And we had only 18 months because the order was given that within 18 months, you have to commission and deploy it. Not only that, integrate the service system with financial system. So in 18 months, if the import itself is taking 12 months, how can we do this? So then our team, I gave them a challenge that can you develop this package without a computer? They just laughed. How can you develop a computer system package without a computer? So I said, okay, go and explore. They said after some exploration, they said there's only one company which is doing it, which is TI, Texas Instruments. but they have a satellite,
And
and they do it, and to the satellite they transfer it. We did not have a satellite. We did not have that type of facility. So when we brainstormed with the STPI, that is Software Technology Park of India, and VSNL, they could offer some solution. They said you take a lease line from Madras to your development place in Bangalore, and we will connect that lease line through the submarine cable of Singapore Telecom to your computer, GE computer in Singapore. And so remotely, that way you create an environment here, then you have to just buy some terminals and develop the software. So we did that. And when we delivered that package, even, we were the first in the country to deliver a package without a computer, and even Wipro was floored. And no computer software company had done this before. So innovation is not just product innovation. Innovation is you can do in every step of the way. And that if you cannot be a great business, you can be a good business, but if you want to be a great business, you have to innovate at every step. Now, the last point I want to say is that which is applicable to companies in all sectors is that the leaders basically look at P&L. They want to grow sales, they want to cut expenses, they want to make profit. But they don't look at the balance sheet. So, I told you just a few minutes back that we got customer advances. And we were very clear that the speed of the business is extremely important for the customer. You get an order, you deliver the equipment fast, and then you install it fast, make him earn revenue fast. His installment payment starts quickly and he completes the loan also quickly. So it helps everybody. So we were running our business at 3 times the speed of competition. And how that came to us? The competition had an electrical business mindset. There was Siemens, Philips, L&T. They still thought at electrical business rhythm. We came from the computer business mindset. GE came from the medical electronic computer business mindset, which was a different pace where products would become obsolete within 4 or 5 years. You have to earn money from that product within that time to be able to reinvest into the next generation product. So when we ran the business at this speed, our working capital and total capital employed in the business is 1/3 to 1/4 of our competition. And in the first 3 to 4 years of our business, I want to tell you, we had a negative working capital. We were sitting on cash. A new company, which is running against competition, investing money, it was investing in mutual funds and fixed deposits. And that is what I want to say is that innovation in every field, innovation, how to be profitable, not just through top line and expense management, you have to constantly think. And now, I would say that we got to the number 2 position in 3 years profitably. And this was 2 years ahead of the time, which was given to us. And obviously, everyone was extremely pleased that aspirational goal, which was set, was taken seriously and achieved. And we became number 1 another 3-4 years later. It took a little longer time, not because we were not innovating or we were not effective. It's because the market was redefined to a much larger canvas. And in that, we had to be number 1 and number 2, because the GE acquired companies in those fields who were again laggards. And we had to again bring it to the top. But it was done. So we became number 1 in about 7 years after the business was established. And that's how, we had a lot of decision-making authority and elbow room and power because we were delivering constantly. So now I just want to sort of give some from my experience, how to build innovation as a leader. Because that's a question people ask. Is it okay, you did it and you must have done it somehow. But tell us how anybody can do it. How anybody can achieve aspirational goals through innovation. I think first is you have to share the aspirational goal widely across the organization. If people don't know what is the aspiration, how can they achieve it? So communication must be in simple terms. You know, you take the example of Kalam, when he had the aspiration to launch a super nuclear weapon into atomic weapon, a huge booster rocket and a huge thing was required. But he didn't explain it that way. And he told his organization that ignite the minds. If you can ignite, you ignite a rocket for it to go. He used the same vocabulary and language and told his team, you ignite the minds. So this phrase you will find repeatedly when you read his book, ignite the minds. And then the organization will take off. And so communicating this in simple terms is important, and give a reasonable runway. You cannot say achieve the impossible in 6 months or 1 year. Then people just don't even attempt. And so you have to give some reasonable runway, and you yourself must be passionate. You yourself must be able to motivate. You must spread infectious enthusiasm about it and send positive signals when outcomes are there. See, I was deep down in the trenches. GE is a $100 billion organization. Ours was not even $25 million organization in the early days. But in the book, you will see Jack Welch sending me post-it notes of encouragement. I have put 3-4 such notes because it's the job of the leader to know people working in the trenches when they achieve something that it's being recognized. It is being taken notice of. And those notes used to act like, like igniting a rocket in people's energy levels. And people went beyond, way beyond their call of duty to achieve results. Then, of course, you have to reward. I've also put there, for example, when we became number 1, he sent me personally a stock share certificate for $575,000, which in those days was some 2.5-3 crores. And along with that, he sent a $50,000 check, cash. So rewards were given, not just to me. Several people got down the line. So unless you do these things that you can aspire big, but you can also not forget to reward, forget to recognize, forget to give a pat on the back. And I tell you, in that year, when I got that the restricted stock option, which photo I have put in the book, I had to offer it for tax, because it was a foreign stock given and not an Indian stock option with the stock option scheme and the like. So that year, in the Bangalore salary circle, I was declared the highest taxpayer. And with my record of no demands on me for previous 10 years, the income tax commissioner wanted to put my photo in the paper, saying that here are honest taxpayers as an example. I told him, please don't. I don't want publicity. I don't want anything. And of course, she didn't put. But what I'm trying to say is that is the job of leadership. Now, another thing which about leaders I want to say is that leaders have to hold their head in the sky, because then only you are able to set aspirational goals beyond the current year, beyond the next year. But their feet must be on the ground, because that is reality. So while you can aspire big, you have to commit your resources conservatively, and you must commit your resources step by step, so that you manage growth aspirations with risk, financial risk. And that is the job of the leader. That's why successful leaders are tall, head in the sky and feet on the ground, head in the clouds, feet on the ground. So I also in chapter 13 talk about how to build an innovation culture in an organization. And first and foremost, I put the weightage for customer delight. Customer delight is another thing which sends tremendous positive energy in the organization. I asked a customer in Vizag once that what gives you customer delight? I thought he's going to say GE service, or that fellow did something phenomenal. That's not what he said. He said, my patient who had taken a scan in Vizag went for operation to Mount Elizabeth Hospital, Singapore. And Mount Elizabeth Hospital, Singapore looked at my scan and told him that you don't have to repeat another scan, because all the clinical information we want is there in this scan. So he said, I was so delighted. Sitting in Vizag, if with the help of GE, I can produce this clinical information, is all I want. I want to serve patients. If doctor in Singapore says that you don't require a repeat scan, he says that is my delight. So customer delight is number one. And second is learn from mentors. And you yourself have to mentor youngsters. Third is engage family. I was just talking with colleagues here that family is a very important factor in any organization, in any institution. If the spouse feels that the partner is working for a useless company, then she will not be sympathetic, or he will not be sympathetic for her or him to invest in stretch goals, invest in extra time, and take away family time and do it for the business. So, but at the same time, if the family feels that the breadwinner is working for a great company, working for a great leader, working for a great team, working for a great cause, I tell you, the family will be totally supportive to give the best for the employee, to give the best to the organization. So one has to engage the family, actively convey to them what a good company you are, convey to them, make them participate, and make them feel good about the company, which is important. And the last one is that the one way to engage the family along with the working employees, that to engage in community service. Because community service is done outside office hours. You do it in, you can do it along with your spouse, along with your children. And so when you do these things, the bonding becomes better. Thank you very much.
This book is looking very interesting. Hearing you was very, very inspiring. And I've actually made a lot of notes based on the aspirational goals that you spoke about. And I think you covered a very, very important element, which we don't generally talk about, is about ensuring that we meet our goals in an ethical manner. I think it's a very, very important part. You spoke about how to build innovation as a leader and to engage with families. A lot of this which you've spoken about, I think is very, very inspiring. And I surely hope that the entire team out here has heard you very clearly, and we will try and see how we can work along these lines and your thoughts.